And since I have the legacy run this weekend, that makes exciting for me. Football game this weekend. It'll be probably the first time in, I don't know, a lot of years that we've had great weather for both. So it looks like it's going to be outstanding. I'm looking forward to it. But I just thought I'd go over the season a little bit now that I had a chance to look at it. And all in all, under the circumstances, I think it was a very good season. Never ends the way you want unless you win it all, but I can't say that was the number one objective this year, especially early when we had the injuries. It was about surviving the times we had to survive and really realizing at the end just how close we were to maybe doing something, not because of the way it ended, but as you look back on a couple of games that I thought we should have won, could have won, that's how fragile a season is. It's, as they say, a game of inches, or in mine, a game of a point. And yet I think with Tyson coming back and Malik coming back, we got something to celebrate. And I say that because this day and age, you don't know who's coming back. And you don't know, and I guess you still don't. I mean, there'll be a bunch of guys put their names in. I don't know if I'll have some probably that'll put their name in to the draft. I think that's the popular thing to do now. But I think in general, we should have a pretty solid group coming back with a great group of recruits coming in. And you put those two things together and a lot of optimism for next season. I'm kind of just see the weight of the world off Tyson's back. I will say that Malik, as you know, he was injured all year, and I think not more severe than we thought, but just more hindering than we thought. And so when the season ended, he had minor surgery to kind of straighten out the top of that foot as far as what they felt would make it so that he'll never have any problems with it again, which never is always a strange word, but I feel very good about that. He feels good about it, and I think that's going to really help him, which will definitely help us. As far as the rest of our guys with Malik, with Jaden and AJ, Mahdi, and our centers coming back, I think we're going to have a good base for those rookies to come in and have some mentors to work with. And yet, as happens in college basketball now, I think it's going to be every year there'll be guys pushing guys. And last year we didn't have as much pushing. I think this year we'll have more pushing, and I think that'll be good for us and good for the guys. So I'd rather open up for some questions since the season's been over, because you probably have more questions than I have. But you can ask me whatever you want, and I'll probably answer 90% of them.
I guess going off of that then, when you say that you're going to have more people pushing each other next year, how do you, I know it's way far in advance, but
you're not going to wait a second. You're not going to ask the question after I had to defend myself all year of why you don't have 15 guys on scholarship, but go ahead and ask it. I'll laugh through it.
No, just from just the competitive standpoint of just how much more competitive you think internally it's going to be with the new guys you do have coming in and everyone who's coming back.
I hope it's incredibly competitive. I think the one thing that we've done with all this portal stuff and all this is nobody wants to compete for anything. And last night I was with 5 coaches down in Illinois at a cancer, and we were all dinner, and we were all talking about, what it was like, what it is like. We're talking about Gene Cady going into the Hall of, and what that would mean and what era that brings. And I think we all agreed, competitive nature and fighting for something that you want badly is good. And I think this gives us a little chance to be normal. I mean, we weren't normal this year. We not only had 10 on scholarship, but then we had 2 hurt for some of it, 1 hurt for a lot of it. So we picked and chose what we wanted to pick and choose. And you can criticize or commend me for what I decided to do, but I was comfortable with it. And yet I'm not comfortable with having 10 guys on scholarship. But nor do I think you'll see the day very often there'll be 13 guys on scholarship anymore. Men always complained that the women had 15, the men had 13, and now men are complaining, why do we have 13? Because you can't keep 4 happy. And so you've got those issues to deal with, and everybody's dealing with them the best they can deal with. So competition is always good, especially if people want to compete.
Tom, you said a bunch of guys are putting their names in the draft. Who has, or who do you expect to?
Well, we haven't had anybody yet, but I meant around the country in particular. I don't have a bunch of guys that are putting their name in, but I think anybody. I mean, Jaden could, AJ could, Tyson could. Guys could put their name in to see where they are in that, and that'll be the next thing you deal with, as they're doing all over the country. And that was one of the things we talked about last night. It seems to be more common now, and none of them may. Those are the things that we'll find out here in the next couple of weeks.
Along the lines with the roster, wondering about the minutes in particular. That was something throughout the course of the year. There were points where you said certain guys played maybe a little bit too much. What was the cost benefit that you had going back to having that many guys play 28 plus minutes a game?
What were the cost benefits?
The costs and the benefits. I think what didn't you like about it? What did?
Well, I didn't think we got to run as much. I didn't think we got to put as much pressure on the ball. I did not think we rebounded with the tenacity that we have in the past, because we couldn't practice that way once we got a couple of injuries. I think a lot of things hindered that, and yet on the other side of it, playing 30 minutes a game is not outrageous. I think our best teams, our best players probably played 30, but maybe 28. Is there that much difference? I think anytime you can keep people fresh, especially the way the schedules are nowadays, I think it benefits them. But, as we sit here with now 12 on scholarship right now, as we've seen over the last couple of years, unfortunately, somebody's getting hurt. Thank God load management hasn't hit college sports yet, but it's probably right around the corner, like everything else. And so we'll see. But, you never have too many if it works out that way, and you never have enough if it works out that way. It's one of those things where you can't predict injuries. You can't predict somebody coming back at the end of the summer a lot better, and some people coming back not as good. As I said, talking to the 5 coaches I was with last night, it was interesting on each one of their teams how that happened. They were all Big Ten coaches, and how it happened throughout the year for them, throughout the summer. And so I'm looking forward to it. I think this is going to be just what we asked for here. We'll have some veterans. Hopefully can mentor some of the young guys. I think that's always good. We got some young guys that I think are going to push some of the veterans, and that's always good. It's always good. I told you guys I'm uncomfortable every day. I worry about my job every day. I worry about losing something every day. That drives me. That's a good thing. We're going to see if players are that way anymore. That's getting to be something that, if you look at the portal and you look at the number of starters or other people that are transferring, it's almost like nobody wants competition, and I don't know of any place, 99% of the teams in the country probably got 12 or 13 guys on scholarship. So there's always going to be competition.
Tom, referencing that a little bit with the portal and how people can come and go a lot quicker now. To this point, for the most part, your program has remained pretty stable. Obviously, I know with Pierre's gone and you've had some guys come in, but the difficulty, I guess, what I'm getting at is you're recruiting a recruiting class, but the work you also have to do, Mel's mentioned this, of the guys currently on your roster. Is that a thing you have to constantly think about too? And at this point, are you confident that, anything could happen, obviously, but there's no surprises in that? And in terms of guys who are currently on the roster, do you worry at all about whether someone you're not counting on might leave, and how much of that is a factor now that maybe it didn't used to be?
Yeah, I'm really not, but it is definitely a new world. And every day, we allow agents in the high schools and the things that are going on now. Mel's right, every day is a new adventure, and that's why relationships are pretty important, but they don't solve everything, The grass is always greener now, it just, even though it never is, it always is. So, do I feel comfortable with it? I feel as good as I can feel at the point in time I'm in. I don't know if anybody feels comfortable with anything anymore. We saw people that have had big-time careers so far leave with another year left. We've seen guys averaging 19 points a game leave. What's going on is, what everybody must have wanted, because that's what they got. So far, I've been pretty fortunate, but that doesn't mean that'll continue for years to come. It doesn't mean that we'll never have to be in the portal, because that's going to be inevitable in a way. But it is good when you can have some consistency and continuity and some people to help other people grow in a program. I think that's a positive. I think it's a positive for our freshmen coming in, and I think it's a honor for the other guys. Sooner or later, it better be a damn honor to wear the Michigan State on your jersey. Sooner or later, it better be an honor to wear, Tennessee on your jersey or UCLA on your jersey. I don't mind being somewhat transit, but I don't think we should be looking at it that I don't sit there every night and feel comfortable, but I'm not sitting there every night worrying. If someone doesn't want to be here, I wouldn't want them here. It's just, that's the way we have to adjust now and react. But that goes both ways now. It does go both ways. And as I watched last year, some very good players that left programs, went to other programs and played 10 minutes a game, it's going to balance out sooner or later. Just probably not for a while.
Tom, I'm wondering, when you look back with some time on the Kansas State game, how that one sat with you or sits with you, how you digested that all, and as well as, extrapolating that all the way out with the rest of the NCAA tournament, with the way the Final Four looked, with the way your guys' path looked to potentially Monday night or whatever, just specifically Kansas State and the whole tournament, how that all played out, how you sit with that.
Well, I said it, and I still believe it. I thought Kansas State was really good, but I thought the toughest team we played, to me, was Marquette. And I said that, and I see some people have them 1 or 2 in the country next year in a way too early preseason when they don't know who's going to be on the staff, who'll be coaching the team, or who'll be president of the university. But even though they don't know all those things, there's some intelligent writers that have already got there way too early, top 25 or 30. But I think in general, as I looked at the film a couple times, things happen both ways, but they made some tough shots and we made some poor defensive plays. I thought that was the combination. And I said the irony of the thing is the kid that hit the biggest shots. He hit 4 threes, hits that one on the baseline late, didn't do anything the next game and transferred 2 days later. So that's the world we live in. That's what happened, for whatever reason. But I thought, as I tell my team every year, as I tell the media every year, you get into the NCAA tournament, it's hard. Getting out of the first weekend is real hard. And then something always happens. And, somebody got a break when Middle Tennessee beat us. We got a break when Northern Iowa beat Kansas. There's always something that happens. This year, a whole bunch of something's happened. And because of that, it was a crazy Final Four. But when you look back then and you say, God, does that mean we would have beat Florida A&M if we would have won that game? Not necessarily, but I think most of us would have liked our chances. And that's the way the NCAA tournament goes. That's why it's so important to take it one game at a time and just try to understand that dreams can come true, miracles can happen for different reasons. You get hot, Carolina last year. Somebody gets beat, like this year. A lot of things happen in that tournament. But as I look at the whole thing, I think the best team won. I thought UConn, when we played them last year in the Bahamas, I thought were really good. They lost a really good player. They picked up one or two guys, the freshman center, who only played 13 minutes a game. But some of their other guys got better. And that was a big key. He coaches them hard. I thought he did a hell of a job. I thought they were the most efficient team offensively, defensively, rebounding, and had a little bit of depth. So I think the best team won, deserved to win, and San Diego State did a heck of a job. Their defense carried them 90% of the season, and that too was something you preach to your players all the time. Defense travels, and I think it did in that tournament, to be honest.
Tom, the point guard positions like quarterback and football, everybody wants to run the show, but there's only one ball. You got a deep group of ball handlers on paper coming back next year. What do you want to see from AJ, Trey Holloman, and what are the expectations from Jeremy Fears, if you can get into that?
All good. All real good. I want to see some of them get in better shape. I want to see some of them shoot the ball a little bit better. I want to see some of them gain a little bit of weight. I want to see a freshman come in Jeremy with the leadership skills I think he has and the defensive tenacity he has. And I think we'll play something that a lot of teams are going to. There'll be more than one point guard playing. I think you can, we're going to be able to rotate some guys in there, get our running game going like we should. I think Tyson is as excited as I've seen him since he's been here. So I think there's, a lot of positives to it. And like I said, I'm just reading the body language, and Audrey started it out with a good question, but 1 minute you don't have enough guys, 1 minute you try to set a standard, there's too many guys. Ain't gonna work with me because I've already been fooled by you guys enough times, but I really do believe that if this was 3 years ago, everybody would be tickled to death, there'd be no questions. But just because of this, the way college basketball has swung, that doesn't mean it's right. I mean, it's still okay to have a process. It's still okay to get better. And you know what? One of those freshmen might beat out one of those juniors or seniors. And if they do, God bless them. That's the way it's going to be now. It's more transactional. I want it to stay more relationship based. Hopefully we can keep this program in the middle somewhere.
Tom, you said sooner or later it better be an honor to wear Michigan State across the front of the jersey. Mm-hmm. After 28 years, are you there yet? Could that be one of the reasons that Tyson and Malik decided to come back? And do you see that with the programs that are there every year? It is that kind of an honor.
Yeah, Jack, I don't know if you'd say that if you talk to all those coaches that you think are that way. I think there's been a great turn to the right or left. It's not a gradual one. I mean, things have changed drastically in college football and basketball. And I just hope we can keep that. It matters some, it matters. There's a reason in this building I spent more time in making sure the former players are represented. I think it doesn't help you win games maybe, but it does help you in life. And I'm a little worried that we're getting so quick fixed on everything. We're forgetting there's a big picture here. And the big picture is one of our jobs is to prepare these guys for the next 70 years of their life or 65 years of their life or whatever it is. And, having, I talked to DeJuan Wiley today, he works at this university, he could have been out in the cold and he had a place to come back to, and there's so many guys like that. And I still say, I wonder where that's going to take the next 15 years of players if it continues to go like it's going. And if that's the right way, I'm not going to crash and burn. I'm going to adjust. If I get to dive into something else, the portal or starting 5 freshmen, I'm not crashing and burning. I have to make the adjustments I have to make, but I hope everybody realizes life isn't as simple as this want to do something and think it's just going to happen like that. And that's kind of what we're doing. I saw a great quote from a football coach at Temple the other day that I just started laughing because it's spilling into that, are we really helping these kids? And that's been since this started, that's been my question. There's been some one way and some the other, but it is definitely a new era when you come back and you don't even know how you're addressing a team that has a bunch of underclassmen because you don't know who'll be where, what, and when. And I think people want you to just accept that. I wonder if those same people would accept that if a coach came in and said, you know what, I'm going to go get 5 other guys. The hell with these guys. I wonder if people would accept that. And I would never do that, but that's kind of what we're looking at a little bit.
I want to ask you about scheduling a little bit. I know last year with the non-conference, you said you might have overdone it a little bit. Wondering what kind of the game plan is going into this year, and do you have a little bit more flexibility with the challenge going away?
Yeah, I think you have a little more flexibility. I think right now we got bad news the other day because I think we played Duke did we play Duke? I saw the big kid's coming back, huh? Everybody thought he was leaving. I didn't mean that bad news. It's good news. It's actually good news for college basketball. And I think we're playing Arizona out in Palm Springs in a one-play game. But we're not done with the rest of our scheduling now because, like you said, the Gavitt Games is still, I guess we have one more year of that. And then as we find out who we have and who everybody has, scheduling will take place a little later than I think it has in the past. And understand this, the problem with last year's schedule wasn't the toughness of the teams we played, it was the way it was laid out for me. And that was the problem. I'd play the same schedule, no problem. I'd just like to have a few days in between, or I'd like to probably not have 2 trips to the West Coast. I guess if there's something I did wrong, but as we all know, I still wouldn't have passed up that game on the aircraft carrier, and that caused that issue. So don't think that it was the teams I played, it was when I played them.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was Fred next, sorry. I thought you had a baseball question or something. It's only it used to be 13 scholarships was the norm, right? It was like 2-3 years ago that was the way every program did it all the time. And players there was a patience and you figured things out. Is it just the one-time transfer rule entirely that makes it different? And I'm wondering if we overstate, like we see kids leaving all the time. I'm wondering if your own, it's still a pain in the ass to leave a school. You still got to uproot your life. You still got to want to do something. I'm wondering, when you have conversations with your own players, do they seem as impatient as we all think college basketball players are?
I think it's same in your profession. I think you got a lot of impatient people. I think that's society right now. I think everybody thinks they should have your job when they're one of these guys. And I think they should have Fred's job when you're one of you guys. It's paying your dues is That's illegal right now, you know, so you can't put it just on basketball players. What the sad part is we do not have the statistics, and they'll probably never come out on how many failed. We just always get the ones that succeeded. And the numbers are probably success rate is here and fail rate is here. Some of it's nature of the beast. I mean, there's 4,000 or 5,000 college basketball players, and 30 Americans are going to make it and land on a team for a year or two. So those numbers are very small. And so I don't know. I really, impatient. They're impatient because everybody around them's impatient. And hell, you guys are impatient. You know, you want to know how many minutes a guy's going to play, and he hasn't even gotten on campus yet. You want to know, you're going to have too many players. Everybody had 13. 90% of the schools probably still have 13. I mean, it's just that I don't like having players on my team that are unhappy. And probably everyone after 6 is starting to become unhappy. So we have to deal with that. And what I still sell to my guys, a lot of guys, man, that weren't very good as freshmen, and there is a process, and you try to sell it the best you can. You know why you try to sell it? Because it's the truth. But the truth is something that people don't want to hear. It is the truth, okay? Some of you writers that are older, you know, the young guys come in and they think they can do what you did better right now. And there'll be one. There'll be a LeBron James of sports writers, you know. But most of the guys are going to have to pay their dues. And that's the same in sports. It's the same in business. It's the same everywhere. There's always outliers. The problem is, for some reason, everybody's pushing these kids so far, so fast, and I'm just afraid that they're never going to understand that failure is probably the best learning experience you can go through, failing. It really is. I mean, I did it a lot of times. It's really good for you. And I'm not sure that you're allowed to do that as much anymore. So there'll still be, I bet you, 12, 13 guys on most rosters. Some guys are just picking up guys and giving them a chance in a lifetime, you know, like, I can't tell you how many guys I know that went from smaller schools to bigger schools and hardly ever played. And if sitting there at a big school, if sitting at Michigan State is better than playing somewhere, you know, that's your prerogative. But I think a real player is a guy that wants to go somewhere and play. So now you got to go somewhere and you got to beat somebody out, because there are 13, 12 on scholarship. It's more than 5. And so you're going to have to beat somebody out to play. And I think that message needs to be stronger no matter who you are and what you are. And the players you love are the ones that say, bring it on. You know, Mateen Cleaves, he didn't care who I had in front of him. He didn't care who I had coming in. Bring it on, you know. Xavier Tillman, you know, Denzel Valentine, I can name you a bunch of guys. You know, is that going to keep happening? I don't know. But that's the way we're going to try to explain it, because remember, 1% are going to the league. 3.5% are playing college basketball, or playing basketball anywhere after college. That means that we got to really train a lot of people how to fail, get fired, work harder, have responsibilities, have accountability. There's a lot of things that you got to do that matter to me, and I think matter to a lot more coaches than you think. And so I don't know. I don't know what the answer will be, but we're in a trial session right now. We'll see how it goes, and maybe, just maybe, I'll be the one saying I was wrong. You know, I was wrong. I maybe the transfer portal is a good thing. You know, we'll see.
Just wondering, with all your summers used to be just jumping from gym to gym to gym. There's only so much time you're allowed to spend in the off season with your team. So how are your summers? How is this summer? How are your summers different now in this new reality that we've been talking about for 15 minutes, if at all?
Well, I'd say the spring is going to be the biggest difference, because I don't think anybody wants to leave their nest because they're afraid someone's going to come and pluck a player out of there, you know. So I mean, I don't think you're going to take a lot of time off. I think you're going to be managing your roster. I think you're going to be managing your players. But I don't know. You know, I think you're going to be, I think John Calipari said it in our first meetings when this stuff came up 3 years ago. People will quit recruiting high school kids. That's happening. That's happening all over. Not at Michigan State, but it's happening all over. And some will maybe be more successful than us. But that'll make a little dent in the summer too. You know, do you go to as many of those events or not? If you're not, you're going to be here with your kids. If you are, you're going there. And I'd say within a year or two, they'll probably have a transfer portal tournament at the end of the year, and then everybody will go there and watch all those guys. You know, I think that'll probably happen. And you're laughing. I'm about as serious as a jaybird. You know, I think it'll happen. So. Somebody will make money doing it, and it'll be great.
Gym big enough for that?
Is there a gym big enough? Oh, they'll do it like they do at Louisville. You know, there's 30 courts underneath a building. You know, but you're right. There might need to be more. I missed your point because you usually don't have a great sense of humor, but I appreciate that. I did. I enjoyed that, and I like your sense of humor on that because you're right on the money.
The last time you had a class regarded in this way, you didn't have the veterans, maybe, that you do now. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of maybe you can think about the last time you actually had this kind of a situation where you had this kind of talent coming in as freshmen, with this kind of talent as juniors and seniors already established, and just what that mix can be like, because it seems like it's been a minute. I'm thinking about the 17 class in particular. 16 class, sorry.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Everything turned out pretty well there. But I would agree with you. It's not the norm. And you know, we've kind of got a unique thing. We've got, you know, some seniors. I mean, the other thing that's really changed college sports has been this COVID thing. You know, it seems like we never get rid of COVID. You know, we're still, you know, playing against 25-year-olds. You know, that's different too. You know, 5 years ago, a freshman at 18 might be playing against a senior at 21. Now a freshman at 18 might be playing against a kid 26. And so that's the other reason I think if you looked at Kansas State's team, they were a little older. You guys probably could relate, but they were. And that makes coaches say, is any freshman as good as a guy that's really been out of high school for 6-7 years? And the answer most of the time would be no. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, when's the last time a freshman dominated team won the title? Was what, Duke, maybe?
Was that in 15?
You guys played.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the last time. I mean, what do we have this year? 3 even playing much in the Final Four, and I think 6 in the Sweet 16. I mean, think of those numbers. I mean, Kentucky and Duke had that many. They had more than that just on their 2 teams. And so that's what makes it hard too, you know. Kids have the same expectations, but the statistics show that that's not true. And so I don't know, you know, in my own way, I don't think I have to worry about that the way it is right now, because we're definitely gonna be some freshmen in that playing group, and some could be starting, who knows. But what I like is I do have some upperclassmen. I do have some talented freshmen. and it's going to be fun to blend them together. Is it going to be a headache, as somebody said, because somebody's upset? Let me tell you something, guys, gals, ladies, gentlemen. Somebody's upset every day, okay? They're upset every day. If they're starting, they didn't get enough minutes. If they didn't get enough minutes, they didn't get enough shots. If they didn't get enough shots, they didn't get enough makes. I mean, somebody is upset every day right now because you have so many people talking to these poor kids. And the only thing I'd say is, I got to watch myself too, because instead of blaming the kids, it's the adults. I mean, those are the people that are infiltrating these people and the parents and everything and making it more confusing. And you don't cheat the system in any of our professions. You really don't. You do not cheat the system. You didn't cheat the system 50 years ago. You didn't cheat the system 30 years ago. You know, everybody says, well, kids are more talented now than they were. Well, that means the guy in the class in front of them was more talented. So you still got the same problem once you get them. And it's just mind-boggling to me how people think, you know. And there are different places you can go. And, you know, if they don't think being here is important, and the facility we've built and the things we have in this facility, if they don't think the coaches can help them get to where they want to get, you just got to have a little bit of patience. You know, when I got in this job at Michigan State, Judd once said, you know, freshmen came in to learn and sometimes redshirt. Sophomores came in to play a little bit. Hopefully by your junior year you might start, and your senior year you might star. Well, now in 8th grade you expect to do this, in 10th grade this. Definitely when you get to college you expect the star, start, and everything else and be out of there. And it's just, it's not right. People are selling people stuff that is not right, because there's still only 30 NBA teams or whatever, 32, 31, whatever. What is it? 30?
Too many.
Too many. How many baseball teams are there, Fred?
Way too many.
Way too many. But there still are only that many. And I think what's sad is there's so many people getting sold a bill of goods, because there still are only that many players and that many teams. And my advice to all my players is, make sure you get good enough. When you leave, you're good enough to withstand what you're going to have to deal with at the next level. And I think that's a fair assessment. And those that do it, some might do it as freshmen, some might do it as sophomores, some as juniors, some as seniors. But don't listen to the outside world, because the outside world is crazy right now.
Tom, I'm curious, what do you think the Twitter's role is in all of this? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Just a little levity here. You referenced a little bit with the recruiting class, but in terms of expectations, and you said the way early rankings, but they'll probably be pretty similar come next season, and you guys are going to be right back in that spot that
I love it.
That a lot of these guys, maybe these guys on this roster haven't done it, except maybe, I don't know, Malik.
Yeah, I don't care who's done it and who's not done it. I think we've been through a lot in the last couple of years, you know. You know, that's another thing. We look at these years, and they've been a bizarre. You know, I still say in 20, I think we were good enough to win it. We were good enough to get to a Final Four. We could have Middle Tennessee'd it and got beat. But I think that team was peaking at the right time. You know, who knows where that team would have gone. The next year, I didn't think we were as good. We weren't as good, and yet we get a 13-point lead on UCLA, and they go to a Final Four. The next year, we get a 5-point lead with 4 minutes left on Duke, and they go to a Final Four. That's how fragile it is. And really, in my own way, that's the way I look at it. You know, like somebody said to me, well, you didn't go to a Final Four. Well, you know, some of these guys are so crazy. I hear them somebody got fired and they said, well, he hasn't been to the tournament in 4 years. Well, 2 of those 4 years, one of them has been completely scratched. Nobody went to the tournament, so we all should be fired. The second one, that second year, I mean, you know what we did that year as far as playing games and having COVID and coming out of it and playing those 3 games. I mean, how do you judge anybody on those, And so I don't look at those 2 years, last year was okay, okay year. And this past year was really, under the circumstances, I think a damn good year. And I told you early in the year at our first meeting here, I said, I like this team. I like my team. I said over the summer, I thought we were connected. I didn't change that one bit during the whole year. And there were some tough losses and there was some, tough days with some injuries, but I never changed what I said. And at the end, I think I was right, So this year's team, we'll see. I'll tell you after the summer, because I think it'll be a big summer. A couple guys got real big summers ahead of them. And all the young guys got big summers ahead. But I like our opportunity. I love our chances. I hope we're rated high. I hope that's where Michigan State belongs. We belong up there. If you look at the last 25 years, and that's kind of, I like that pressure. I like those opportunities. And I think the league again, when you look at Purdue, I was with Matt last night, and they got everybody back. And you talk about everybody, they got everybody back. They don't lose one starter. In fact, with the 2 forwards, they don't lose any of their top 6. And so they're going to be good. And then it's hard to say who will have anybody. So that's why I said we'll wait till the end of the summer to see who's there and who's not there to figure out where we are.
Coach, you talked a little bit earlier on about how the return of Tyson and Malik is something to celebrate, but is that also a relief for you with both Tyson and Malik, but specifically Malik as the veteran he is and how versatile he is, to set an example for those 4 incoming guys who, although there's those high expectations set, who knows how they'll adjust to college ball?
Yeah, I loved, in Tyson's case, I just felt really good listening to him talk to me at the end of the year and what it meant to be in that tournament and what it meant. He felt like maybe he could have taken that last shot, and I think he's grown enormously. But Malik is the guy that's been through it all, and he's been through injuries a few times, and as he got healthier, we got better, but he never really got back to where he was. And you look at Jaden, his situation, I mean, this was one of the things that was hard this year is, you got a kid like him who you saw the second half of the year play so well, but he didn't have anything the first half of the year, So I think Malik is the guy that, he's the graduate, he's kind of the godfather of the group, He's one of the best students. He's one of the more versatile players, I think, in the whole league, both on offense and on defense. And I think he's excited to come back and knows he's going to be healthy. It was tough to go through what he went through. And both guys, if you remember, were not healthy, then became healthy, then got hurt again, and then became healthy again somewhat. So that was tough on them. And so, yeah, I'm excited because I think Malik is a guy that can talk to those young guys. He's been through it all, and he's been around, and he's graduated, and he's going to finish his master's, and I think his basketball is going to take a big jump this summer because he really did improve a lot. He really improved his shot last summer. I mean, I thought he was going to have a big year, and then what happens, and that's out of his control for sure.
I'm just wondering what vision you have for Sissoko and the centers, and they all got a taste of something this year. What do you see for them in the future?
Well, that's a really good question because I think that's where all 3 of them, it's a big summer. I do think in Jackson's case, he can play some 4 too because he can really shoot it, So we're trying to get him stronger but quicker, and And the other guys, Marty's got to improve his offense. He's improved his free throw shooting in some other areas, but he's got to improve that. And I think the big thing that I should take a lot of blame for, I do not think in general we were as good a conditioned team as most of my teams have been. And I think some of it was the lack of numbers and the lack of practice opportunities and the way we handled them, getting a little gun shy about injuries. I don't think we did the war drill enough. I don't think we went up and down enough. So as we always do, we look at what the players got to improve on, but I look at what the coach got to improve on. And there were definitely some things that I think I could have done a better job of, and some of it was in the cards, and some of it maybe I just looked at and was afraid to react a certain way. So I learned a lot this year in a very positive way. And you know, the problem with right now, and I don't know if is there another question? I'm cool with it if there is. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I know you need a mic. Go ahead, tell me and I'll repeat it so they all hear it.
Just speaking to the way too early rankings again, reflecting on that, you said you embrace those expectations, but on the flip side of that, how do you keep your team humble, especially these younger guys who are coming in, and not to just assume that, hey, we're national championship contenders next year?
Yeah, that, you know, the question is, for those millions that are listening out there, you know, how do you keep your young guys realizing expectations don't match performance, more or less? Is that a synopsis? You said a lot more words. I think that's one of the problems we're having. You know, everybody thinks they're maybe better than they are. And the reality of it is, when you start looking around, just look at our league. You know, when everybody's got us, some people have us picked pretty high. I mean, here last night I learned, you know, Purdue's got everybody back. Well, they won the league by 3 games. So we better worry about getting out of our league, much less getting anywhere farther than that. And there's going to be programs that pick up people, and some it's going to benefit and some it's going to hurt. And there's going to be players that this summer, some are hungry, got a chip on their shoulder, got something to prove, and are going to get better. And there's some that are fat and sassy and are going to get worse. I can't control that. The only difference is there's so many more numbers of those kind of fluctuations, or that it never used to be that way, because people knew they had to work their way up the ladder, and now they think they can card trade their way up the ladder, and some can. But you know, I'm not worried. I think the one thing that we got some good kids, and I think one thing Jeremy Fears brings that I like, he's got that Mateen Cleaves, Magic Johnson leadership skills. Now, will that continue as he gets to college? Who knows? But he's got that and some toughness. So I think that can help rally the young guys. And then with our older guys, with hopefully the big step that Jaden will take, the big step that AJ will take, the big step that those centers will take, and power forwards, I think that's what gives us a chance to be a good team. We'll see. So, you know, the only thing bad about this press conference is, since a lot of people feel the same way I do, but very few say it, it makes it sound like it's negative, and it's really not. It is what it is, and we have to deal with that, okay? Mel's got to deal with it over there. Susie or Robin has to deal with it here now. You know, I just was with Adam in a meeting. You know, every coach is going to have to deal with it at some form or another. Football and basketball, it's more, everybody sees it a little bit differently, and you know, I've made no bones about the fact that I still think it's going to hurt some players, but I've also made no bones about it that it's something that we have to deal with, you know. I think Bobby Knight hated the Big Ten tournament, you know. Somebody else hated the three-point line. The only difference with this, to me, is, are we making boys men and are we making girls women? You know, are we really teaching you how to be successful later on in life? And in my humble opinion, I think we're hurting that opportunity. I could be wrong, but I don't want you to think that I'm not against somebody that transfers. I mean, Pierre, we talked to Pierre. Pierre did what was best for Pierre. I'm as happy for Pierre as I will be for Rocket Watts and Foster Lawyer and right on down the road. I mean, you don't keep everybody. Some people leave. I think what you're going to see in college sports is more coaches directing people to leave. And I don't think that's as good for the player either. So don't worry about how to read me or what to think or think that I'm old school and I'm not able to adjust to the times. Let me tell you something. I adjust better than 90% of you. I really do. I just got a lot more to adjust to. And I constantly say this to when I speak corporately. And I'll say it to you because there's probably, let me see here, looking around, a couple people that are under 25 in this room. You don't have to, you know, especially you women, don't tell your age. But the rest of you, is that fair to say, you know? So most of you are older, and you've all survived so far. You all got your own opinions on what should be good or bad or right or wrong. But I'm looking at what I do and what I've done, and I look at it as what I went through. And I don't care where you are in your life, you're all going to have to go through a lot to be successful. And so for you young ones in this room, you're going to have to work. I know some people that have started jobs here in the media that are with us today. I listen to them talk about 70 and 80-hour work days. That's been the norm for me for, unfortunately, a lot of years. I do know that I had the privilege when I got here, the privilege of sitting there and unlocking the rims to make sure Magic Johnson could work out. And I saw what he did to get where he got. I watched The Last Dance the other day, and I saw what it took for him to get where he got. I listened to all those guys talk about if we had phones then, or if we had Xbox, or if we had that, where would I be? So if you're striving for greatness, and if you are striving to be an elite person in whatever endeavors you take, I would say that you better stay focused. You better realize it's going to be a lot of work. You better realize there's no shortcuts. You got to realize you're going to fail, and I fail a lot of times. And if you can do all those things, I'll bet you there'll be a lot of successful people in this room. And that's all I want from my team. You know, I said it a million times, I lived my dream. I'm living my dream. But I've lived my dream. And all I want now at this point in my career is for every player I touch to have a chance to live theirs. But I know what it takes. And having these outside people tell these guys what it takes, when I got some of the greatest that ever played the game, and I've coached against some of the greatest that ever coached, and yet we got people in the streets telling these kids, you know, how to do things, where to go, what they're not getting, what they are getting, is sad for me. But in a way, I got the perfect team for me. I got some veterans, I got some rookies, I got some guys that are, I think, competitive. I think we'll add some toughness to this year's team. I think we'll get healthy. I think those two guys will be healthy. And I'm embracing the opportunity to be ranked high enough, and I'm embracing the challenge of trying to win another Big Ten championship. And I'm looking forward to the chance to competing for a national championship. And it won't be easy. There's teams that got a lot more back than we got. There's teams that got, better talent than we got. I just think I like the chemistry of our team. I'll tell you by the end of the summer whether we're as connected as last year's team was, with a few more players that could add to it. So I appreciate you coming for the last go-round here. It was something that Mex and I talked about doing. I promise you, we met at a restaurant. I want to do something for you each year at the end, because I don't want to do it during the year. Then when you write something bad, I'm mad at you. So now I don't care. It doesn't matter. So I want to make sure that next year we will do a better job, Mex. I love Chick-fil-A, but maybe we got to go Italian or something, and go big and stay home. But we'll have something a little better. And Fred's mad at you. I want you to know that. So I hope you guys have a great fall. I'm expecting most of you to be at the race this weekend and run that thing in record time. I don't think that'll happen. Huh?
She may win it.
You may win it?
I'm not going to win. I'm running though.
Well, what kind of negative attitude is that? See what I mean? Huh? Probably under 25 too. I'm not going to win. I suck. I'm not very good. Go win the damn race, all right? It's going to be beautiful weather. We're going to end up in Spartan Stadium. We're going to have some fun over there. And you know what? It's going to be a special time for me with this race. It's by far the most people we've had. It'll probably be over 4,000. And what's special about it is the charities, when you look at what we went through as a university, as a community, as a state, and even as a country, if I watch TV, it's a good time to gather a bunch of people and kind of depend on a bunch of people. And instead of putting 12 or 13 to a common goal, put 4,000 to a common goal, make this place a better place, and that's what we're planning on doing. So you guys have a great summer. I hope that it all works out well for you, and if you need me, call me. I'm sure I'll answer. I usually do. And what else, Mex? Anything? That's it. All right, gang. Have a good time.